Okay, moving on. Let's move straight to New York Hurricanes. All right, that's right. Not New York Extreme, New York Hurricanes. Jeff Stein has now finally taken over. I talked with Jeff over in Orlando at World Cup last year, and he was very anxious about closing the deal and putting it together. Had a few key sponsors he needed to talk to, and that has finally happened. So Jeff now has a Hurricanes team in the NPPL and in the NXL. So I think just with his leadership alone, you're going to see that franchise move up. How far? I don't know how far, only because I think they are not a team that has enough depth at the moment. Again, we had a few key injury struggles last year, still made the top 10 in the NXL. They're gradually increasing. I'm sorry, top 10 in the NPPL. They're gradually increasing, getting better. But I don't think they have enough strong bodies for an NXL campaign. You need at least 15 strong, solid guys to make that work, and I don't think they have it. So I am going to see some improvement. You are going to see some improvement from that squad, but you're not going to see these guys in the first and second place or the championship. I think that'll be more towards the 08 campaign, but nonetheless, good things happening in the New York Hurricanes franchise. Oakland Assassins. Now here's the team in turmoil. Beautifully covered by Dale Ford and 68 Caliber. The whole MPS PMI buyout merger, whatever you want to call it. Legally, I don't even know what we're going to call it, but that leaves the team kind of in chaos. Not sure how much funding they're going to get, if any. Kind of, a team in disarray, not sure what direction they're going to go. It doesn't look good for the Oakland Assassin franchise, if that's even going to be the name they're going to be using. So I don't see much. I see this squad, again, going down for 07 while they get things collected once funding and everything else gets put in place. Could be a solid franchise for 08 and 09, but for now, not much happening in the Oakland area. All right, here's another team in turmoil, Sacramento Excessive. And this is another team, we don't even know what they're going to be called. Rich Telford, again, we saw the collapse towards the end of the season. Still had a chance to win it all in the NPPL and could not do it. I think too much inner turmoil, too much player turnover. Again, now it looks Rich has probably about half his squad left, and again, not even sure what name they're going to keep, how it's going to work. You look at the rumor boards and the message boards and the internet, and everyone's got a different story. So I only think the only way we're going to find out is come this weekend when they actually hit the field. And I think it's tough. I know funding's somewhat low, and Rich is trying to hold together. So we'll see what becomes of Sacramento Excessive. But Maximus, when he was here, pointed out something I think very interesting. He said, you know what, Evan? What happened with Excessive last year was all the pressure was on them to perform. They were kind of the dynasty killers. They were the ones that had the tools in place to take, it was like, hey, if you're not getting first place, it's a failure. And I think that was a lot of pressure on those guys. Now, everybody thinks they're going to end up last place, and they got no one on their team. So without that pressure on their shoulders, it'll be interesting to see what happens to that squad. And that was a great point that Maximus made. And again, this could be Excessive's year. Who knows? I don't see it happening, but without the pressure, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Rich's boys. So again, your guess is as good as mine, but I see Excessive going down. But we will find out when they hit the field this weekend. Here's another team that Maximus, I think, made the best quote. He called them the champions of mediocrity. Or, I'm sorry, the champions of inconsistency. Portland Naughty Dogs. Again, 1 minute they're the champions of the Smart Parts tournament that they put on. I thought, wow, this is the year of the Dogs. They started out brilliantly, won that, and then they just up and down, and that has got to. I don't know how Rocky sleeps at night. That's the worst. I'd rather be consistently bad or consistently medium, but going from high to low is just too much. And they put on a great performance in the World Cup last year. So they started on a high and ended on a high. They kind of got run over by Ross and Red Legion on Sunday in the finals, but nonetheless, second place finish. So I don't know what this franchise needs. My personal opinion is Rocky needs to commit either to the NPPL or to the NXL. I think what's happening with all this inconsistency is that it's too much. Having both leagues, two different teams, as the skill level improves on all the teams, it is almost very difficult without 100% consistent, should I say, focus. We all know that Rocky, again, is a full-time job, is a father, has kids. It's tough to NXL, NPPL, and put it all together. I think the Dogs need to laser or pinpoint their focus and say, hey, we're either going to do NPPL or NXL, and I think they'll see a lot more consistent winnings from that squad. It's obviously he knows how to win. I think it's just too much on their plate with both leagues. So take that for what it is. I say the Naughty Dogs, again, going down this year. I think we're going to see more of the same. If they continue to do both leagues, you're going to see them up and down and up and down. I think it's going to be more down for the Dogs, especially with the loss of Map Chim. Now moving on, he's going to be working with the Division II squad and bringing them up the ranks. So again, the Dogs again, need again, some type of laser focus. Again, we'll see when they take the field this weekend. Moving on, San Diego Legacy. That's right. We talked about it earlier. It is true. Maximus Lundqvist, again, was here last week. He told us the whole story. I'll briefly recap it to you of how he has come to join Gary Shows and Bob Long on the San Diego Legacy franchise. I was there actually pretty much when it happened and kind of watched it out of the corner of my eye. During the finals, Maximus was up in the VIP area as we were broadcasting the finals in World Cup 06, and I saw Maximus talking to Bob Long, and Maximus said Bob approached him and said, "Hey, Maximus, why don't you play with us next year for the NXL?" And Maximus, quite frankly, thought Bob had a little too much to drink, and he was just goofing around, and I said, "Oh, okay, yeah, right." Come to find out, it was for real. It was a legitimate offer, and Maximus had decided to take Legacy up on it. And here's the great thing about Maximus Lundqvist. He's the type of player that is not going to need a break-in period like a Nicky Cuba or something like that. He's a player that's a little bit older, a little bit more mature, and he knows exactly his role on this type of a team. And he's not worried about making a big impact or doing this. He understands, hey, here's my role, here's what I'm going to do. And I think he will fit in perfectly with the whole Legacy squad. And I think you're going to see that San Diego Legacy squad going up. And they're probably one of now the teams that could beat the Red Legion or the Dynasties or the Iron Men. I think they're right there in that category now with this pickup. So look for great things from Legacy this year. And congratulations to Maximus Lundqvist on making that move. And also, a good thing Maximus pointed out that this year the NXL, the Millennium, and the NPPL no longer, this year, they do not have any dates that collide. So last year, Joy Division's demise basically was that they were trying to be too many places at once. Now Maximus, again, can compete in all three leagues, not have anything taken away or anything moving against them, so that's perfect. So again, you're going to see a fantastic new Legacy squad and some great things happening. Okay, moving on as we come down to the end of the NXL teams, let's talk about Team Ultimate. And ultimately was, I think, a big letdown for 2006. And again, a lot of people get on me sometimes, go, you guys are kind of hard on those guys. And well, I'm just calling it like it is. And Ultimate did not have a great year last year at all, and I don't see anything changing this year. I don't see any key free pickups. In fact, I know from what Maximus said, they lost one of their top players. So who knows where this puts them. Again, I don't know if they were prepared for the pro commitment or what's going on or, again, what they have under their sleeves, but I don't see anything happening from Ultimate in 2007. Again, you guys are welcome to prove me wrong, and in fact, I look forward to it. But again, I don't see anything happening from that franchise. All right, last but not least, X Factor. And the reason I leave X Factor for last is because they are truly the X Factor. They jumped on the scene last year, jumped from Division II like LTZ, promptly made it to the semifinals, and everybody was like, who are these guys? Then the next event didn't do so well. So I think the X Factor is a big X Factor. I have no clue where they're going to be. Not sure what key players they have or who they have signed or what they've done in the offseason or if they're ready for the NXL. Could be beginner's luck in that first tournament. Who knows? But the good news is they're in a position, unlike Excessive last year, some of the other big teams, where there really is no pressure on them to win. They just kind of came in, kind of surprised everybody. So it's nice to have the looseness and to be able to understand, hey, we're not required to win at all. We can just play loose and go for broke and make some big moves and kind of be the underdogs, and that's a great position to be in. So X Factor, I look forward to some surprising results in 2007 from you guys. Well, folks, that's it. That wraps up the NXL preview. Look forward to all the action this weekend. If you're going to be down at the event, I'll be there Friday and Sunday. Look forward to shaking hands with you and hanging out, watching all the action. And then, of course, next week we'll have our NXL breakdown as we break down all the teams and the placings and what we saw. So, for Pro Paintball Weekly, I'm Evan Money. God bless, everybody.